Welcome back to True Print for Life. I'm your host, Christina Vera.
And I'm your co-host, Maylin Sambois.
Welcome back for another episode. We just want to take a quick moment and thank you if you are a new listener or a listener who's been following this journey for almost 3 years. We thank you. We thank you for subscribing, for every share, every comment. And if you've heard an episode recently that, you thought of someone else, make sure you do share, these episodes. And then feel free to leave comments, whether on the YouTube or via the Spotify or Apple, on content or topics that you have an interest in learning more about. Or you're also welcome to email us at info@trueprintforlife.com.
So official.
So info@trueprintforlife.com.
Yes.
We are going to be looking at some different content coming up here, probably in the fall. We're working through some projects right now, which we're really excited about, and certainly want to be able to curate conversations and experiences that you feel are helpful for you, whatever journey you're in right now. As you know, this podcast is really designed to be able to talk about business, lifestyle, health, just kind of all of the major key areas for most women and allies today.
Yeah, it's a holistic approach. I think sometimes certain, and I love podcasts myself. Some things are more spiritual, some things are more like career-based or personal. I feel like we try to hit a little bit of everything because that's who we are,
right,
and that's how we grow. So we hope that everything we bring into you is helpful. But like Christina said, feel free to let us know there's something you want to learn about or something you heard and you're like, I'm not sure about this or I want to learn more about this. Let us know, because we probably know an expert that we can also bring into the podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe you are the expert we need to bring into the podcast to come and talk with us.
Yes, absolutely. And, I think you may have heard this in some previous episodes. As you know, Maylin and I co-founded a nonprofit organization together a little over 11 years ago, in addition to some other small business consulting firms. We've done a lot of different passion projects together. And so over the years, we have learned quite a bit. And I think that that's something that I'm really grateful for, thinking back to, it's been 11 years officially as a nonprofit, but really like a 15
this year.
Yeah, 15-year journey of growth. And
Yes.
I think that is so amazing and so exciting. And, a big part of where we feel we are now in this season as to how we can be more intentional in getting what we've learned out to others.
Yes. So we have fun things we're going to share with you. How are we going to get that to the world? So are we ready to tell them?
Yeah. I mean, we've told them, so So if you are a real fan and a real listener and you've listened to every episode, which if you have, I would really be curious to know that. We've talked about a book. We've talked about having a book kind of in motion, and that book will be out this summer.
Yes.
So we're really, really excited about that. Look for it. We'll have more conversation curated in some upcoming episodes where we won't go too far into every detail of the book because we want you to buy the book, obviously.
Well, we're going to give you a little taste.
Yes. And so it's a really great read, really reflective on our journey. We really feel like it's a blueprint. It's a journey. It's tips, it's tools, it's personal stories. It's only 10 chapters, so it's not a crazy read, although it took us like years to write. It's only 10 chapters, but it did take us a really long time to write.
It had to be refined and updated.
Right. But I think that there's a lesson in that, because I do believe that although we had the intention of wanting to put out a book years ago, it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right season. And, now at this moment in time, I know definitively that this is when this book was supposed to come out. And so sometimes, even though things are not on your timeline or things that you're like, oh, this didn't work out or this didn't happen the way I wanted it, that's okay. Because now I feel like, especially in the place that we are in the world where people are needing more support, needing more guidance, needing more, reassurance, I think the book will certainly be able to support that.
Yeah, and I think it will give you a good glimpse about our journeys, because I think sometimes people see the glamour, like, oh, yes, like they've been with this nonprofit for 11 years. They build these things. They have these successful relationships, X, Y, and Z. but you don't get to see sometimes or learn behind the hard work or some of the, stories that actually built and made who we are. And I feel like the book is a way for us to open, a very transparent way into our life, to share some deep stories that maybe many people don't know. And is a way that hopefully if you don't get to hear from us in our podcast, or you don't get to hear from us live one day in person, then at least hopefully you'll get to read this book and feel like you know us a little bit more. And hopefully after reading the book, you'll connect with us because we're still growing, right? This is our first book and is a way for us to share what we have learned. I feel like we're not taking anything to the grave. I feel like as we're learning things, we're very big about sharing and supporting and collaborating and how can we help other people hopefully not have to go through some of the things we've been through, because we don't feel like you have to pay nothing. Like we feel like if we pay for it, we'll pay for it. Now, hopefully this will be a guide to help you so you don't have to go through the same hurdles and pain to get to, to where you need to go. Hopefully you'll get there faster because we're going to provide some type of path for you to do that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, just in reflection, we started this book years ago, and then at the top of the year, we made the decision that we were going to really lock in and get it done. And we were able to get this book pretty much finalized within a 4-month period of time. And something that felt so big and so massive, and taking all those years just to add a little bit, and then to find that we really kind of retweaked so much of that original iteration. But then the moment we locked in and we were like, we're going to get it done, the book is in its final phase. We've gone through the editing phase already. Now we're in the spot of just typography and things of that nature. The cover's done. And so...
Beautiful cover. I do a little split that. Yeah. Beautiful cover.
It's a beautiful cover. And I share that because it's just when you really want something, you're really ready to go in, and locking in is not a question. It's making your mind up. And I knew around the holidays, I was like, this book is coming out this year.
The 2024 holiday.
Yeah.
The December holiday.
Yeah, the 2024 holidays, I was reflecting on my year and thinking about, okay, a new year is coming. And I don't stress myself in the same way with 20,000 things anymore. But I still like to hold a certain standard for myself and for our businesses. And I think about, okay, how can I show up in these spaces? What can I contribute? What do I define as priority? What do we need to do together to be able to execute some of those things? And so, I think about those things not as often as I used to, but I do make it a point to think about it a few times a year. And so at the top of the year, it was just Maylin and I have always had our annual check-in, usually on New Year's Day. That tends
usually
to be
with breakfast.
Yeah. and so just okay, what she writes her list, I write my list, and then we share the list. And then anything that's a common item, we then really adopt as our goal. And then we create the guardrails as to how we're going to achieve the goal. Yep. And so that's really helpful, I think, because it's also an accountability mechanism, because the moment it hits the paper, then it's no, we said we were going to do this.
You say it.
Right. And so I think finding accountability partners is so critically important, because then it's just a wish. It's just one day.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a wish for a couple of years, right? Because other things had to take priority too. And I think we even write this in the book is, we had the thought to do this. And because we could be in separate areas in our lives, sometimes in our lives, other things are taking a priority. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to have a partner, right? That is yeah, I get that and I support that. And what can I do to support you in the area? Because it still has to happen. And that's Christina, okay? And I say that, with my heart, and grateful for her, because to me, to be honest, the book was a big huddle because, and it's not to use my language as an excuse, but I did question, what would I share and how would I share? How would I come across? And after conversations and prayers, it occurred to me that was not even the important thing. Is the message that people needed to hear. Mm-hmm. And I was blocking myself with the stories I was telling myself But I literally prayed one day. I put my alarm because I had a deadline to meet. I was a little late on that deadline, but I did it, okay? And I prayed on it, and I woke up. And I woke up at the time I think it was like 4:30 in the morning, and I started writing, and I just couldn't stop writing. And I was like, oh, okay, so everything is here. Like, it was very surprising to me, but also I was grateful because I knew it was God helping me, because I was so afraid of what I should say or how to say it and how to word it. And I remember Christina was like, don't worry about that, just write, and we'll figure it out. And I remember I keep telling myself that, like, just write. It will get edited, all the grammar and the things.
Yeah.
Just write. It was in your heart. And because I was able to write with that freedom, I was able to just share what I needed to share. And my prayer is that, and I'm sure that we share this, is that whoever reads it, it gives them the message that they need at that time.
Right.
And that is the intention that we're writing this book with, is that whoever gets this book, which we hope is in millions of people, that when they read it, they're like, yes, this is what I needed to hear. Because when we read it, when we wrote it, we're like, wow.
Yeah.
It's still impactful for us, and we wrote it. We can only imagine what it's going to do for those people that are going to get an opportunity to read it too.
Absolutely. And I think that, as you are in whatever season you're in right now, either personally or professionally, giving yourself grace and opportunity to really, pause, to really reflect on what are you doing? Where are some areas that you feel like you would want to spend some more time in? What do you need to pull back from? We are going into, third quarter?
Well, is this third? Well, we're finishing the second. So yeah,
June is next week, 2 weeks from now.
Yes, because you got January, February, March, April, May, June. So we're finishing the second, and then we start the third.
Wow. So this year is halfway over. I mean, literally. So it's just like, so it's kind of thinking through, like, I know at the top of the year, there's always this emphasis, or like, okay, let me like review everything. But this might be that midpoint check-in period, to say, let me pull up that list again, or
create the list.
If you didn't create and don't hold yourself hostage. It's not about...
It's no judgment.
There's no judgment here, but it's just, if you claim you want to live a certain life, and that could be a healthier life, that could be going to bed earlier, that could be
spending time with your family,
working out,
or making $1 million,
going out with friends more. Like, if you're saying that's what your priority is, but you are not intentionally creating steps to actually make that happen, then you're lying to yourself. Yeah. That's not really, because show me your bank statement. Show me.
Or your calendar.
Your calendar. Show me, like, what you invest your time and money into, typically that's really what you care about.
Yeah. Or what you have made a priority, right? Because maybe you care about other things, but because you are not being intentional about the things you say you care about, then that's what's happening, right? Yeah. So it may not that you don't care, just maybe you just, because of life.
You don't care as much as you think you do.
Yeah, so you're not taking the actions you need to take to really care. She's here,
Listen, I think about it differently. I think that, like, regardless of what it is, like, show me your calendar and show me what you spend your money on. That'll tell me what you prioritize. Yeah. And it's not, that doesn't make you anything. It's just, I think that even if it's $5, if you're saying, I don't have money to do, you got $5 to do this, then what did you choose to do with that $5? If all you have at the end of the month is this amount of money, okay, cool. What do you choose to do with that? Yeah. And I'm not talking about what you have to do to pay your bills or for the kids or for, whomever. It's like, what is it that you would like to do ideally? And how are you creating the space and the habits to be able to do it? And
the discipline. Like, I find, and we talked about this because it's true, I think, like, consistency, discipline is important. So if you're now evaluating this list that you created or didn't create, and then just ask yourself, like Christina asked very good questions when we chat. I love her accountability. And she laughs because it's the truth, guys. Like, I love her because we have certain seasons when we play different roles. And this is a time where we end where, like, I really need her as she is, to bring it up and be like, what is it that you want? And then how are we going to do this? And where's the consistency? And where is the, the prioritization of things? And it really makes me like, at the moment, I'm like, I got it. I heard it. And then I have to go sit. I'm like, okay, well, what is my priority? And what is it that I want? And, I have all these moving parts. And how am I moving forward? And what I need to put my money and my time in. And that's a me choice. Like, she can bring it up, but she cannot make those choices for me. I have to make those choices, and I have to decide how I move forward and then figure out how those affect the people that I care about. So I think that as we have had some conversations, like really important decisions have been made. So you got to look at yourself and look at your bank, look at your calendar, and then look at what you want. As we're experiencing this world, I feel like sometimes we're afraid to take risk for whatever the reason is. Like we're afraid to take certain risk. But then you have to ask yourself, are you living the life that you want, right? And if you're not, what steps are you taking to create the life that you want? Because maybe right now you're not living the life that you want because whatever the reason may be, that's different for everybody. But what steps can you take today, even if it's one, to get closer to the life that you want?
Yeah.
Because, our days are not counted. Tomorrow's not promised. Like today we're here and I pray I'm here for 100 and some years. But if I'm not, did I take any steps to the life that I wanted? Like when I've been having dancing, would I be like, I did that. Like I took a certain steps. Maybe I didn't get to it, but I did take the steps to get me closer. And if you haven't done that, I would say it's okay. Because maybe you just needed to hear this podcast today to remind you that it's not too late. Right? You can still make changes. You can still take steps. And if you don't know where to start, I think like ChatGPT is really great. Like it would give you steps. If you tell them the life you want, it will give you steps to do it. But if you want to talk to a human, Christina and I are here to chat with you because we've been in that journey. And we're always in that journey of getting closer to the life that we want.
Yeah, absolutely. And it constantly evolves and changes. And what life you thought you wanted 5 years ago may not be the life. And you might have it. You might be like, I achieved it. I got what I wanted, but I still don't feel like I thought I was going to feel.
Right.
I thought I have the degree, but I'm still not happy. I have the big house. I'm still not happy. I got the
car.
boyfriend. I got the car. I got, whatever you got. If you're feeling like you're still not happy, then it's okay to say, okay, I got to make a change.
Yes. And what is that?
Right.
And it doesn't, I think sometimes, and I don't know if some of us are extremists, and I call it like, when for my health things, I used to be an extremist. Christina could not stand me because
oh my God.
I'd be like, are you eating that?
Yes.
You remember that when I was getting into my really health kick?
I remember.
And now I'm like, life YOLO, let's eat it and then go work out. But in every step, right? Like you just have to, sometimes extremist part brings you to inaction. Because if you don't take any steps, then you're feeling like I'm a failure. And then that feeling stops you from taking any action that you need to take. So that's why I'm like, listen, I don't care what happened in the past. I can fix the past, but I can fix the now. So if you haven't been able to be active, if you haven't taken any actions, this is your sign. This is your confirmation that you've been asking for to take action, to sit down, to figure out what you want, and then what do you need to do to get closer to that. And hopefully when the book comes out, you get it, because we give you some time to reflect and to take action.
Yes, I agree. And I think that, and I think if you feel like you need accountability partners, or, we talked in a previous episode about as adult women, sometimes it can be harder to build relationships or find your tribe. But I do believe that is critically important. And I don't think you need like 20,000 people, but having a couple people, if you can find a group or research, like if you have a hobby or an interest or something you want to learn more of. Nowadays, we're in a world full of technology, full of, easy
Groups.
access to research things. So finding a group, that you can get involved in. Like, for example, if baking is your thing, finding a group that bakes, finding a place that, they have cooking demos, you are going to have to be intentional and do the work to find your people.
Yeah.
Because I think that's also a huge huge motivating factor when you have people who are on similar journeys or who are willing to hold, each other accountable or willing just to be, phone a friend kind of thing. Because I think oftentimes we feel like we have to figure all this out by ourselves.
Yeah.
And we were not designed to be by ourselves. And sometimes you can easily get stuck in this energy of being like, well, I've always been on my own. I've always done it myself. I don't need this. I don't need that. Okay, well, let's see how that's working for you.
when you switch that time.
I'm like, well, go ahead, girl. I'm like, because I need a man. I'm sorry. I tried it. I can't. I love, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with independence. I'm not talking about that, but it's just sometimes we tell ourselves all these things, and then you wonder why you're alone.
Yes,
and some people act as if they're cool with that, and it's are you though? And it's not even a significant other. I do believe some people can be by themselves and be completely happy. I've met people who have been single and they love being single, and I think that to me has been one of the biggest misconceptions. Which I know it's religion-wise, there's different things where it's views on that. But I also believe that if you have come to a space and season in your life where you feel like I don't really have an interest nor a desire to be married, to be exclusively with one person, I think there's power, and that's okay. So I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying that. But where you just got to a season where you just want to cut off all types of human relationships, interactions, I don't believe that that's a healthy thing.
It's a trauma response, I feel. I feel like you have sometimes, and I could, I'm not a therapist, but I do recommend you go to one if everybody should go to one, period. Even for just an annual checkup. But sometimes you are afraid of connecting with people because you're afraid of them hurting you. You're afraid of them abandoning you.
Right.
You feel like if you get too close and they know too much, they may not accept you for who you are. So there's a bunch of things of why people reject relationships, and they mask it with, I got it. I don't need nobody.
Right.
And other people do that also to kind of put a front because they don't want people to see, right? Or they feel like if they show someone that they need someone, then it shows a weakness, because women have made to believe that if we show or ask for help or support, now we're weak.
Right.
When actually there's power in asking for help. If I need something, I'll call Christina. I'll call my mother. I'll bring my mother to come and help me when I need support, because there's no weakness in that. If somebody comes to me for support, I don't think they're weak. Right. Actually, I'm proud of them because I know it takes bravery. It takes a lot of courage to really come to someone and say, hey, I need support. And if I'm not the one that's able to support it, then I'll do what I can to get someone to support them or show them to a resource, because I want people to be supported. And we should encourage that. And speaking of that community, because we have heard this from so many people, that it's hard to find your tribe. It is hard to find people to think like you and then be in a supportive space. We are going to be launching a community. So it's specifically going to be for the people that read the book, because I feel like now we're going to have a common language, right? We're going to read this book together. We're going to do all these cool tours, and you get to meet us around, the world with that. But we're going to have a community. So where you can come in and introduce yourself, get to meet people. And then that the people that are in this community are going to be supportive, are going to be there to cheer you on, right? For your next best thing. You can share things. We can meet and do things. We hope in Italy, if we're gonna have people from Italy, okay? But yeah, so that's going to come soon. When the launch of the book, a lot of great things are coming. We're going to do our best to be more out there with you guys, and hopefully you guys will connect too and start building those tribes in different parts of the world. So we're excited about that. So that's coming.
We're excited about that, and that will be housed on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And more details that, like Maylin mentioned, will be shared very soon. I think parts of this will be able to launch in June. The big launch will be in August. And so certainly, in between time, as we begin to film some summer content, we are going to be, as I mentioned, giving some little sprinkles of what's in the book, over the summer in preparation for August.
Yes.
So we're excited to be able to share that with you and just continue to share everything we're learning and growing one day at a time. And trying to even learn social media. I think I try to join with you on here, but I think that's a big part of what I love about us is that we're always willing to like try new things, do new things, and
learn live.
This
is the first time we did this.
Yeah, I was like, I think because it was flashing, and I was like, maybe I can try this and see if this will work. I don't get. So you probably can't see us right now, but we're like playing with phones and
go to YouTube.
Things.
If you go to YouTube, you'll see this whole thing
Yes.
for sure. If you're on Instagram right now,
yes. But I'm excited, and I think that we're just at this next season, and
yes,
I think and I use season a lot because I also like. In my mind, seasons are meant to change. So come August, we are going to have a book launch. And then we're also going to be doing some previews of the book in June. So if you have an interest in getting a preview of the book and hopefully leaving us just a
great review.
The book will be available on Amazon. And so certainly we would love for, those of you who have been a part of the journey to read the book, provide a review. But the kind of big hoorah will be happening in August.
Yes. And then after that.
Yes. And if you have questions about writing a book, all the things, like it's definitely a journey. It's very much a process. We found a really great editor. She was amazing.
Yes.
And so we're just in that final stage of like typography and some digital design work. We have a PR person.
Yes.
She's awesome.
We're so official.
Yeah. Well, we're like, it's like so crazy because you don't even know you need all these things.
No.
Like, I don't know what we thought we needed, but we didn't know we needed all that.
Well, I could tell you what I told the PR person and you yesterday is that I thought, and I have so much respect for authors right now, I thought you just wrote a book. And I don't know, magically, it would just come together and then sell, right? Just share with the world. And as we're going, I'm just sharing my version. You have a different version, obviously, because you got all the pieces. We are going to put something together at the end of this process because I have had to ask so many people and do so much research to figure out certain things that I feel like we're going to need to put something together for y'all. So for our audience, like, we love you. And if you want to write a book and you want to figure out how to do that, we're going to put something together to help you with the steps because it has been a lot of research to do this and costly. Yes. And I think you should be prepared for that.
No, facts. And I think, like, I knew it wouldn't just, like, magically happen. But I also, like, because, we've run businesses and none of that magically happened either. It took time, the right staff, the right investments. So what I didn't want to happen is that we wrote this book and then nobody knew about it, or like we were limited to a certain, sphere.
Or we went back to doing our work with our nonprofit and businesses.
Right, because we are so busy.
Yeah.
And so I think there's sometimes it's like you question, like, are certain investments necessary? And I mean, you only know your budget. So we really couldn't even do it the way, if I had like an extra $30K, like, at minimum. So we really are nowhere near that. But like when you think about PR support and the cost of like all of the extra things, and then like if you want to order books in advance, and if you want to do a photo shoot, if you want to do like banners for the book fair,
big things,
like all of that is costly. Yes. And so we were just kind of like, what is the intro necessity so that, we at least have like some good foundation coming into this. And, God willing, if we write other books, like now now we'll know like at minimum what to expect.
We'll have a formula. Yeah. Because I think everything we do, the first one is like, this is, it's a lot. It's a whole workout. Okay. Yeah. And then once we got the formula down, then I feel like the rest will come. Right. And that's what has happened with everything we've done.
Yeah, it's always been a trial, a little error, and, really great people who are willing to invest, willing to guide us, willing to say, like, no, or, like, this is, like, working with you. Yeah. I mean, everybody that's been a part of this journey with getting the book ready has been pretty great to work with so far.
And even people that have written books have been very open. Like your sister wrote a lot of great books.
Yeah, she has quite a few books.
She does. I have them in my house. I love them, and they are great illustrators too. And the book has beautiful messages, great quality. And I was like, how did you do this? And she was so great to give us a lot of tips and things that we didn't even know as we are going into this journey. So definitely shout out to Jessica for all her support in this journey.
Yes, she's on vacation right now with my mother.
Oh, enjoy.
I know. Enjoy. I love that for them.
Did you?
I mean,
that sounded so
I have to share her sometimes. So this morning I did go get breakfast, and it's so funny because I sent her a text message of an empty chair. I was like, this is supposed to be you. Because like randomly, like my schedule is like your schedule is so random and it's so busy. But then like when I have like little gaps of time is like when I will be like, oh, well, let me see where my mom's at. And this morning I did that and I was like, she's in Myrtle Beach.
Is she?
Yeah.
I got a text from her today. So
she's in Myrtle Beach.
I didn't know that. I didn't track her to bed yet.
Yeah, she's in Myrtle Beach. And so I was just like, okay, well, let me just go to my next meeting. And so I had like several meetings today. I've been to 2 schools today, a library.
Wow.
And now I'm here.
See, that's a busy
Friday
for you. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So, but it's all good. It's just
enjoy. Let her enjoy it.
Yeah. And summer is on its way. And so I'm really happy about that. I'm ready we got a couple big things coming up in June, July. Hopefully we'll be able just to do some more foundational, not a whole lot of running around, and then get ready for it.
An incredible summer and fall. Do you have your kids' stuff sorted out? You usually get their camps and things.
They're older now.
Oh.
So they have like their own things.
They have live stuff?
Yeah. So I was talking to Adrian and I was like giving him some suggestions of some things I did research.
Adrian is your 12-year-old now?
Yep. He's my youngest son or my only son. And he's 12. And so weird. So this past Sunday, so my husband and my son have the same birthday. And so they were both born on May the 18th. And I don't know how that happened. That was just like, it just happened that way.
It's a gift.
Yes. I tell Ken that all the time. I'm like, I can never buy you anything more. It's like I gave you a whole son on your birthday. So like, I love it. Yeah, you have a whole birthday. You have a whole era.
You're welcome for life.
For life. And what I love about them is like some, like I have 3 kids total and you have different relationships with each one of your kids. And, when Adrian was little, he was like always like on my hip, And then as he got about probably about 6-ish up, like he just was like a daddy's boy. And I actually really love it. Like I know some moms are like, and it's just like, but I actually so love to see their dynamic. Like they love the same things. They find the same things funny. They like the same movies. They like the same video games. And, my husband's dad died the year I met him. So I never got to actually meet his biological father who raised him. So he's actually, it's interesting. You often think about, you hear like single moms, but his father raised him and his brother. And although their mom was involved, he was the primary parent.
They were with him.
Yeah, they lived with him and like he handled everything the day to day. And he passed away the year I met him. And so Kent and I will have known each other 24 years on Monday.
Jesus. That's a holiday.
Yes.
Also a holiday.
It is Memorial Day. Yeah. I met Kent 24 years ago on Memorial Day. And his father passed away that February. So I met him in May. His dad died that same year in February. So it was so interesting, just the timing of how I met him. His dad had just recently passed away. And then we had a son. And
now you had a daughter first.
Yeah, we had a daughter first, but thinking like how Adrian was born and now he gets to relive a lot of those father-son things that he used to do with his dad. And so it's so interesting just to watch their dynamic as Adrian is getting older. So this is a very long answer to your question, but
it's okay.
I was just like trying to check in with him about summer stuff. And he was like, I don't want to do none of that.
I don't mean my dad.
And then Ken was just like, he don't want to do none of that. I'm like, well, you got to go to work and I got to go to work. So what are we doing
What
here?
Is the plan?
What is the plan? Like, I know it, so it's just so funny now that they're getting older. And so summer is going to start looking a little different, which I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like some of the activities that I was always really excited about, I don't even really know if they're a thing. So we need to call like a family meeting to be like, is this a thing? Because we went to Great Wolf Lodge like a month ago and it felt different.
The vibe was, because they're grown
They're
now.
big now.
Yeah.
And
Cedar Point, maybe.
Yeah, and Great Wolf Lodge also switched up some things. And like we've been going there for years. They took out some key things that we had always like loved and anticipated. And so like that trip for me was also like, oh dang, like this is happening and they're getting bigger. My oldest didn't come. And then Adrian was kind of like, oh, I don't want to do that. And it was like, what? And then my middle one, she was just like, well, like it's just starting to shift.
Yeah.
You know,
the activities got to shift.
The activities are shifting. They're getting older. They want to do different things. And so, so I think that, you know, in every season, professionally and personally, I'm still like, I need to pause for a second because I don't even know what my summer now is supposed to look like because I'm so used to what we've always done. But recognizing what we've always done no longer serves them for where they are now.
Yeah, because your oldest is working now.
Yeah, she's like got a real job. She's done with college and she's got her full career.
A real job.
Yeah, a real job.
And then your middle one is
she's just living her life.
Right.
That one's always been the same. So.
And Adrian is the one that we're like, well, what are we going to do with Adrian? So.
Yeah, he's just like at that age. And, you know, so it's just interesting. All of it's interesting. And I'm trying to be more present. I'm trying not to, you know, be all over the place. That's why I think it's really important and why I have so many check-ins with you because I want to be super intentional. Like when I'm gone from them, I'm doing the things that I need to do. When I'm with them, I'm with them.
Yeah.
And, you know, and really realizing that I also have put this on myself, like a timeline of like where I want to be in a certain, you know, next couple of years. And so realizing that it's like, all right, like now you're in that season. So like, what are you doing? Like, what are we doing here? Because I'm tired. So it's just like, you know, so yeah. So I love it though. I think that's really. Somebody asked me like a week ago. They were like, oh, like what's next for you? You're gonna miss, you know, what you're doing right now. I was like, no,
nope.
I'm not gonna miss what?
None of us will miss it. Let me be clear. None of us will miss this at all.
Listen, I am no longer I'm striving for peace in all areas as much as possible in my life.
Yeah.
Like that to me is now where I'm at with what success defines, whatever's going to bring me peace.
Yeah.
You know,
if the return of investment is not peace.
Yeah, I'm cool. Like, I mean, it's not, I'm no longer at a point where I'm going to be just stressing about, I mean, like stress will happen.
Yeah, we're going to have stress. We actually have stress.
We have stress every day.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's different levels of what I was willing to entertain.
Yeah.
In certain periods of my life where it's like, okay, this is just part of
spaces.
This is what I got to do. This is like that stuff we tell ourselves. Like, oh, this is part of the grind. This is what, and I'm like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, there's a certain percentage of dysfunction that I'm willing to navigate. And then if I can control it. Now, some things I know I can't, but if I can, and there are things that I'm like, nah, I'm cool, then
you're cool.
I'm cool. So I'm not going to miss it.
No. I 100% understand, and I support that message, okay? And I was just saying, like, you know, next time we meet, I'm excited to hear what you did, like, with the kids, right? Like, the next time we record, I'd love to hear, like, how did you do it, and what did you end up doing? Your 12-year-old has transitioned from his likes, because, you know, I have a 2-year-old. He don't know what he like yet.
No, Jaira is liking everything right now.
He's loving Tupperware.
He is loving everything. He's just exploring. I love it. So we'll have to do a kid check-in on our next episode.
We will.
We'll keep you all updated. Thank you for listening. When we start doing some content over the summer, certainly we'll be talking about the book.
Yes.
Some upcoming ways that you can engage, ways that you can give us feedback, comments. So thank you again for listening. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel on YouTube, which is True Print for Life. Our Instagram is also True Print for Life. And if you have questions, please feel free to reach out. As I mentioned earlier, our email is info@trueprintforlife.com.
Yes. And like we always say as we wrap up an episode,
it's bigger than you.
Thank you so much for listening today. We're excited and we hope that you follow us on
Instagram, True Print for Life, YouTube channel, also True Print for Life. And make sure that you share, like, watch our videos. Make sure that you follow us on all streaming platforms.